Habits shape everything we do. They determine whether we build an engaged audience or shout into the void like an overenthusiastic street preacher with a megaphone. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to apply the lessons from James Clear's Atomic Habits to your own work and life so you can build better systems, attract more engaged followers and community members, and, dare I say it, get the results that you actually want. And stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to reveal the one tiny but devastatingly effective technique that can double your chances of success. Now, James Clear's Atomic Habits is built on one simple but ridiculously powerful idea. Small, consistent improvements lead to massive results over time. Instead of relying on sheer willpower, which, let's be honest, lasts about as long as a New Year's resolution, Clear says that we should focus on systems. Make good habits easy, bad habits impossible, and the results will follow. The book is structured into 4 laws of behavior change. You make it obvious, you make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. It's basically the IKEA manual for self-improvement, except it actually works and doesn't leave you with spare parts and kind of existential regret. Oh, and real quick, if you're new around here, my name's Jono and I've helped hundreds of companies and thousands of people build dependable audience engagement and growth with less hassle and better results. So let's make your habits work for you instead of against you. So based upon these 4 laws, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 5 tips to implement. Right? These are the things I'm going to ask you to do. And what I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to do at least one of these today. Right? These are super simple things that you can get started with, but I want you to do one of them today. Okay? The first one is to design your environment. There we go. So James Clear basically talks about the fact that people don't have a self-control problem, they've got an environmental problem. For example, YouTubers who leave their filming setup in place produce way more content than those who have to rebuild the setup over and over again every single time. And my setup is actually a good example of this. You know, I've got my camera over there, I've got my screens over here, I've got a stream deck down here that I can start and stop the recording. It makes it really easy to just think, oh, I've got an idea for a video, I'm just going to start making it, right? And you want to do that in all the different elements of your life, right? So, for example, one thing you should do is to focus on sticky notes. Let's say you want to post to LinkedIn daily. Put a sticky note on your laptop, encouraging you to do so. Let's say you want to create more content, more video content, like I said, maybe leave your camera already set up, okay? But the key thing here that we need to focus on, and I say this all the time, is progress over perfection. This is the mantra that we have in our company and what we have when we work with our customers is progress over perfection. What do I mean by this? Well, when people think about optimizing their environment to kind of be as efficient as possible, a lot of engineering types, and I'm an engineering type myself, who tend to work think in systems, will put together incredibly elaborate systems that are designed to make this as quick and as efficient as possible. Like, oh, well, we'll put our social media ideas in here, and then we'll have a script that will automate putting them over here where they can be enriched with content. And then that will go into this AI tool that will create the images, and then that will go into this queue where somebody will go and review them and post them. And they'll spend hours building out this system, and that is the worst thing you can do. Progress over perfection is just get started. Do the minimal thing today that's going to get you up and running in getting that habit in place. Let's say it's social media, posting to LinkedIn, whatever it might be. Just get up and running, and then you can build and optimize the system. But right now, just focus on making your habit easy to get up and running with, and within basically arm's reach, okay? The second recommendation here is to use habit stacking. So one of the things that James Clear talks about in the book is the concept of habit stacking. And basically what this is where you take something that you're already doing, that's already a habit, or something that you find particularly enjoyable, and you glue your new habit that you want to build to that particular thing, right? So, for example, a fitness trainer who wanted to grow his audience, he only allowed himself to listen to his favorite podcast once he'd answered a bunch of audience questions for his audience, right? And his engagement skyrocketed. Basically, he forced himself into doing the thing which was the habit, and he wouldn't have the enjoyable outcome, which was listening to his favorite podcast, unless he did that thing first. It's a really simple but powerful thing to do, right? So this is where you want to look at the things around you that can have a massive impact. One of the first things you should look at is going to be hot beverages, right? Such as coffee, right? This is what I do, and I've done this with my company. When I was learning how to sell, at one point, I was just not very good with following up with prospects. I kept forgetting to do it. I kept getting busy with other stuff. So I attached it to drinking coffee. Like, I love drinking coffee. I have 2 or 3 coffees a day. So in the morning, I would only have a coffee if I was doing the sales follow-up. Another example of this then, of course, can be, having lunch as well, right? This is supposed to be a plate and a knife and fork, by the way. I'm not very good at drawing, as you can tell. Is that better? Not really, is it? Anyway, so that can be another powerful thing, is maybe you do something immediately after lunch as well, right? So if you want to engage with your audience, you could maybe do that after your coffee. If you want to create more content, maybe you do it after lunch. Or you could look at it as exercise or playing video games, whatever you enjoy doing, tie your habits to it, okay? Now, by the way, before I go on, if you're finding this helpful, I would love if you could give us a like on this video. Likes make a huge difference for small channels such as mine. It helps our content to be more broadly recommended, and hopefully people find this stuff useful. And if you really want to go the extra mile, throwing a sub on this channel would be amazing. I'll send you some great content, of course, and you'll really help the channel out a lot. All right, so let's now go to our third one here. And this is about reducing friction. So, put simply, the easier a habit is, the more likely you are to do it. Like a business coach who pre-wrote 5 LinkedIn posts every day on Sunday, sorry, not every day, who pre-wrote 5 LinkedIn posts on Sunday, ended up posting 5 times more content than when he tried to do it daily. In other words, trying to do it every day seemed easy in his head, but it was actually in practice was not easy. It was too hard. So he basically said, okay, on Sundays, I'll just put these posts together in one shot, and then I'll get it out there, right? And this is super powerful. Like, look at what is absolutely genuinely easy to you to do, and what not might seem academically easy for you to do. Because it's easy to sit there and say, well, all I'll do is every day at 8 a.m. I'll go into my email and I'll do this, this, and this, and this. But then the reality is you're distracted, you're busy, got all these different things going on, right? So what we want to do is we want to take things that you want to do in your habit and basically boil them down into really simple systems. This is something we do a lot with our customers. So for example, one of the things that we do is we've got a system that we've built where you can create a whole month's worth of social media content in about 3 or 4 hours. I'm going to put a link down there. I put a YouTube video out about this. You can go and check out the link down there that I think you'll find really helpful. But the key to doing this is that you want to look at simple ways of reducing that friction. So one thing, for example, is to look at batching up the content. So that's my example of social media, creating a month's worth of it in 3 or 4 hours. Or the business guy basically doing 5 LinkedIn posts in one day. You're just batching all the work together and then scheduling it so it goes out. Another thing that you can do here as well is to have templates. Okay? So templates are where you basically pre-do some of the work before you do it, essentially. So for example, when I am creating a scripted YouTube video, this is not scripted, this is just me kind of riffing and showing you some stuff on the board. I've got a whole template that I will go through and fill out around how do I make the introduction really compelling. What does my bio look like at the beginning? I stop partway through to make sure that I ask you to like the video. I'll mention the community leadership core a little bit later on. These are kind of things that are already in the template. Even in this video, which isn't scripted, I've got a couple of those components in here as well. Another example of a template could be, let's say you want to do, you want to showcase one of your customers or one of your members in your community on LinkedIn or X or whatever. You could have the image ready to go in Canva and then just put their picture in there, and boom, you're off to the races. So this again saves a whole bunch of time when doing it. And the point of this, again, if we get back to our 4 laws, is we make it obvious, we make it attractive, we make it easy, we make it satisfying, right? And reducing friction is a key element of achieving all of those different things, okay? The 4th tip that I want to offer here is to track your progress. And the reason why I want to do this is so you can experience quick wins, right? Building a habit can feel like a bit of an uphill struggle. And sometimes we can feel like we're not making a lot of progress in the things that we're doing. So being able to see that progress is really, really instrumental. I'll give you an example of this. Recently, I've been spending a lot more time working out and count my calories because I've wanted to drop a few pounds, right? And I weigh myself every morning. And while your weight kind of fluctuates a little bit, I've been really enthused to see the weight gradually kind of going down and down and down and down. And it gives me more motivation to kind of stick with the habit and keep doing it, right? So tracking your progress is really critical here, because when you track that progress, you end up reinforcing it. For example, a SaaS founder added a leaderboard for his team members for engaging on Twitter. And the results were a 300% increase in that level of engagement because they tracked it, okay? So the couple of things I would recommend here is, one is to get a habit tracker. There's loads of them out there. There's free apps that you can get for your phone. Install your habit tracker on something that's like most accessible to you. So put it on your phone, have it as a browser tab that's pinned, whatever's best for you. If you want to be really kind of simple as well, just a notepad where you track it down, but use a habit tracker. It's better than a notepad, right? You can, if you want, build your own with something like Coda or Notion or Google Docs, but I'd honestly recommend getting a habit tracker. It's going to be the easiest thing to do. The other thing as well that you might want to consider as well is having built-in accountability. In other words, ability. In other words, if somebody else is seeing your habit tracker, then you don't want to appear like you're failing in front of them, and that increases the likelihood that you're going to stick at it, right? So for example, one of the habits I was building a little while ago, I had one of my colleagues have access to my habit tracker, and I didn't want to disappoint her, so she could see what I was doing. And the goal of this is you want to kind of start focusing on building a streak. Like how many days consistently in a row or weeks consistently in a row can you stick at that particular habit? When you start feeling that streak, you're going to really feel pretty good about it. Now, by the way, I should mention real quick, one element of all of this is just being consistent. And if you want to be really consistent in how you build an audience or fans or communities, you should check out our community leadership call. We're kind of like a personal trainer for how to build solid audience growth and engagement. We help you to figure out what work will have the biggest impact. We'll provide hands-on coaching, both at a strategic and a tactical level, and we hold you accountable. We keep you on the right track, tracking your metrics and making sure that you're always using the best use of your time moving forward. So check out the link down there. We can find out more about the community leadership core. Okay. All right. So now let's move on to our fifth one here. And this is the power of identity. Now you might be thinking, what on earth does this mean? Well, basically, it's important to stop trying to do things and start trying to become somebody. Right. So for example, instead of forcing yourself to post on social media or on your blog or whatever, start telling yourself, I am the kind of person who shares valuable insights every day. This is something that Seth Godin did an amazing job with, where he basically said, I'm going to post a blog post every single day because it's my responsibility to share what I'm learning in my life and in my career with the rest of the world. Some of those blog posts are a single sentence. Some of them are quite long, but he basically said, I'm this person that does this, right? Because what we want to do is we want to make your habit feel an intrinsic part of who you are and your identity, right? So, if you're a content creator, making content isn't a chore, it's a thing that you do, right? If you're a community builder, going out and engaging with the community isn't a chore, it's a thing that you do, right? So as you're thinking about all of this, frame in your mind that you're a person who is focused on action and focused on activity, right? And when you start reframing that bit by bit, day by day, as you start implementing all of these different things that we've talked about today, it will make your habits become much more ingrained in what you're doing, okay? All right, now, here's that tiny tweak I promised. It's the 2-minute rule. If a habit feels too big, shrink it down to 2 minutes. If you want to write that blog post, just write a single sentence. 9 times out of 10, it'll keep you going. You see, massive results don't come from heroic effort. They come from atomic changes. Apply these principles and you won't just build an engaged audience, you'll also build an unstoppable system. So that little 2-minute rule can be the massive saving grace in what you're doing, okay? Now, I mentioned this earlier on, progress over perfection. This, I think, is absolutely essential to the success of all of this. So what I want you to do next is to go and watch this video. Go and watch this video over here, progress over perfection. This is where I'm going to talk about what progress over perfection is, why it's important, and how you can apply it into your world. This will have an impact on everything you do, from your work to your personal life, to your hobbies, everything. Go check out that video. It's a short video, but I think you'll find it super helpful. So go check out that.